A very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show as we head into the bye week, Goon, and it feels like a well-timed and much-needed bye week for the Nittany Lions, coming off another 1-point loss, this time at Iowa on Saturday night. And I don't know. Yeah, we'll start with your takeaways. I know you've had a chance to talk about it a little bit already, but your takeaways from what we saw Saturday night, and I guess how this thing.
Well, my takeaway was, I believe James Franklin would still be here if his kids had given the same effort against Northwestern that Terry had these kids going against Iowa this past Saturday night. I truly. You recall 2 weeks ago, 2 days before the Northwestern game, I said, if these guys don't come out playing hard, tough, and with some pride and stuff like that, then you just got to blow it up. James has got to get fired, all that stuff, and look what happened. We lose to Northwestern. So kudos to Terry Smith. Absolute, cannot take my hat off. Could not be more appreciative as a letterman, as a football fan, as a Penn State fan of how he coached and had those kids rolling. And it just hurt that much more, and was just like the microcosm of this season of losing that game after, going through all that, playing as hard as they did. It's just, again, offensively and defensively, nobody has stepped up to make a play. No one stepped up to make a tackle in the second half of the game, and we needed just a tackle. A big tackle, big play, a fumble, turnover, this or that. Special teams has been great the last 3 weeks. I mean, really, really has. I mean, I can't complain about that aspect of the game.
Some of it.
Well, yeah. Some of it, yeah. Well, they had a couple block kicks and stuff like
too,
that. But I mean, the effort that they gave is what I've been looking for. I couldn't be happier and prouder of Terry, and it was on his sleeve. You could see that out there. He was hurt that they did not win that game, and I just love that emotion of the game. I can get behind a guy like Terry Smith if that's the kind of attitude he's going to have throughout the coaching these guys, and they're going to play for him. Now we're going to see what's going to happen next week at Ohio State. It'll be the biggest litmus test because, as I said on my show last night, Ryan Day is not going to put the brakes on at all, especially if he can run up a score on Jim Knowles. With him leaving. If they have a chance to hang 100 points on Penn State, they will try to do that next week. So I know Terry's going to have these guys ready to go out there and ball, but they better be ready and understand what they're going into. So, the whole Saturday thing, losing the game was the worst part, obviously, but I love the way that they played, the emotion, the pride, the intensity. And again, I just, our next, we can get into it. I mean, I want to hear your feelings of the game, but ask me a little bit, what do you think? I talked about it last night, and you might have an idea. I don't know. I would like to see the dynamic of this locker room, how it's set up, because it's not you and I 1980s and 90s football. It's not the 2010s, 2020s, and it's the new NIL era. And I would like to know the dichotomy and the breakdown of the locker room. Are the leaders the guys who make the most money in the NIL? Are they the best players of the team, or are they the leaders of the team? Are they just good leaders out there? But who are the players listening to out there in our locker room? And it's an honest question, and I would like to know the answer of that. I mean, it's a weird dynamic that the world has set up, that the college world has set up for these football teams. I mean, what are you thinking? I mean, do you think it's who are the leaders? We can say, our guy Nick Dawkins is great, but but are they listening to him? He's only making so much money. I've seen it in the NFL where guys who make the most money, they talk the most. And if they have, you say something, they just tell you to shut up. But I don't know if that has worked its way down into the collegiate locker rooms. I just don't know.
Yeah. So there's a lot to tackle here, which Penn State was not successful at doing, tackling on Saturday night. Let me start with this. It has to be a very strange feeling, especially now this week, and probably going into next week as well, for Terry Smith and for the entire coaching staff, because I think because of the result and I'm sure they're going into this thinking they can win out, and at least theoretically that could happen.
Yep.
I think very unlikely now that they don't go to at least a 6-game losing streak here with the upcoming matchups against Ohio State and Indiana. And they have invested, presumably, everything into this season to making this a very special year at Penn State. Obviously, this thing has come off the rails. And even if they do win out, 8-4 is not what this thing was ever about. That is not going to be satisfactory to anybody, even with wins over 1 and 2. Although, for the record, I'll take that. I'll be pleased with it. But I don't think that is a likely scenario at all. And
let me stop you right there.
Yeah,
sorry to cut you off.
No,
but I want to look at what we're talking about right now. How much money we put in and spent, and that we lost a game, and then it all crumbled. Were we not talking about Ohio State last year and Colorado having that same effect?
Yes.
That those are the two teams that we were watching because they seem to invest the most into the NIL. I won't throw Colorado, but we said specifically Ohio State and how much money they had put into the NIL, and then how it would react if they lose once they lose, and they lost the second time. But they rallied around everything. So we are the ones who caved in after a tough loss, spending the most money this year, the most money that we ever have.
Yes. And with that, the results being what they are, I think most of these coaches feel like the handwriting is on the wall and that this is going to be their last hurrah at Penn State. Now, it may not be, and I think that's going to be one of the interesting things. I think it will be for most, and I think that's generally presumed, and I think it will turn out right. But does a guy like Terry Smith stay in some capacity with a new coaching regime? And again, not even knowing who the new coach is and what they want to go about setting up, no way to know that. But I do think there's a chance that a few of the current members of the staff could,
Terry being one of them,
could be part of the future staff. But there's also a very good chance that none of these guys will be part of Penn State football moving forward. And I don't know if maybe you just don't allow yourself to think about that because you're in the midst of it, and that if you're able to do that, that's probably the best thing, both for the team and for the coaches and their mental well-being, is just get through this, grind through it, get to the end, and then let the chips kind of fall where they may. I do think it is fascinating to me. I'm really trying to consume as much as I can of what is out there right now within the media spectrum on Penn State and what has gone wrong. And I don't think anybody, including you and I, have our finger on it yet. And it's likely not one thing. Oh, this is what happened, and that was it. It is still just, and to that end, some of the stuff I'm reading, and this is just kind of hilarious to me as well. There are, and listening to and watching, there are some folks out there that this Andy Kotelnicki, he is too cute. My God, we keep running all of these cute plays, and then we just got to keep it simple. And then I'm reading from a former player, or actually listening and watching a former player, not you, who's like, Kotelnicki, for some reason, has just dumbed this thing down, and he's not doing anything. It is just such a simple, basic offense. So I'm reading within the same realm of the media spectrum. It's, Kotelnicki, man, this guy just is he's this mad scientist, and he's running all this stuff, and it's not working. And then within the same fan base or the same media base, this guy, I thought he was supposed to be inventive. He's not doing anything. That everybody doesn't know he's going.
Oh, man.
And I think, as always, the truth is somewhere in between. I did think we saw some different wrinkles tried on Saturday night with varying success. My big takeaway from Saturday night is that, once again, it doesn't matter who you have as an offensive coordinator or what you have called as plays if you can't effectively block the scheme. And I think Penn State still, I know Katron Allen had a good night, and he did, and they ran the ball at times pretty well, but also at other times when they needed it, and there were a couple times where they got it. And it's like, but man, did they make it look more difficult after getting the offside. It wasn't like they burst through. And I get it. It's a results-oriented business. I'm not going to sit here and complain about, dude, they got the touchdown. Yep, they did. I'm just telling you, this thing still is not looking anything close to what I thought it was going to look like at the start of the season. And you say, well, Ironhead, that's on you, man. Why did you have those great expectations? Well, here's the thing. I saw many of these same guys getting the push that I thought we would see consistently throughout this season that we haven't seen still to this point. And I know the defense is getting a lot of the blame for Saturday night. I think that was once again an all-around loss. The offense is not being productive. And yes, the defense, 130 yards or whatever it was to the quarterback. Good Lord. I don't understand why we seemingly
Let me jump in again real quick.
Are not getting that part fixed.
Wasn't Jim Knowles' biggest issue that he's had in Ohio State losses in the past is a mobile quarterback, a dual threat quarterback who can run and pass? If I remember correctly, I believe that he had a lot of issues in games that the Ohio State team has lost in the last few years on dual threat quarterbacks. And, we ran into that this week, and, a couple weeks now we've run into it now. Gronowski played his butt off the other day. So when I'm saying people make plays, nobody at Penn State stepped up to make plays. He stepped up for Iowa multiple times.
No question.
And said, I got you guys. Get on my back.
Yes. And that is always the other side of the coin, which nobody wants to look at, is, and I'm not sitting here telling you that this is okay for Penn State football and where this program is expected to be, but I am going to tell you, UCLA played one heck of a football game against Penn State. By far, I would argue, its best game of the season. I think Northwestern is rounding into form. I think they have bought into Ryan Braun's system. I think they are all in, and I think you're seeing them play some very good football. Not telling you that Penn State, as a perceived going into the season, I get that they're not now, but a national title contender, regardless of how well UCLA or Northwestern or even Iowa are playing, yeah, you need to be winning those games. I get it. Yep. I'm with you 100%. I'm just telling you, all three of these teams, and Oregon as well. I think Oregon played its best game of the season to date against Penn State. But I think that is part of it, is that those teams have done very well. I also think if you look throughout college football, there are not a lot of defenses that are like, oh, yeah, dual threat quarterback, forget about it. We're shutting them down. That's why the dual threat quarterback is so dangerous. That's why it is an advantage to have an effective dual threat quarterback. It is really hard, and especially if you have a good offensive line, if you have a good running game, if you have top-tier receivers, well, yeah, then the dual threat quarterback, it's not like Jim Knowles or Penn State or everybody else is shutting them down. No, nobody is. That's what makes college football so much fun these days is, dual threat quarterbacks on good offenses are really hard to stop. So, that is part of it too. When you're looking at Penn State is finding a dual threat quarterback that could be effective at the collegiate level is part of why Penn State is where it's at. The defensive line, Goon, though, that the interior, and I don't know if it's just that, and yep, it's ridiculous to me to say 290 pound, 285, 290 pound guy, undersized, like it does not compute right in my brain. But I mean, Zane Durant is getting pushed around. The defensive tackles are getting pushed around. They got pushed around certainly on Saturday night, and it's been a theme during this losing streak for Penn State. So whoever comes in, and whatever this looks like moving forward, part of it has to be, right, getting the offensive and the defensive line right. And I don't know what that entails. I felt as confident going into this season about this offensive line, again, not just because of the names and because of what we saw last year. We saw these guys go out and have a lot of success. And for some reason, and I don't know if it was the money, I don't know if they've had some offseason injuries, obviously Donko and, now we're having injury problems throughout the season. Maybe there are some things going on in the offseason. As always, you don't know. We don't know what all is happening. Maybe a couple of these guys went through and I don't know this, so I'm not. Don't read anything. I'm genuinely speculating. But again, we're talking about college kids. Maybe there's a kid or two who are going through, their parents are getting divorced, or there's something going on with their family life, or they were in what they thought was a rock solid relationship with a girlfriend, and they've been broken up. And it's, well, come on, man, dude, like, okay, have you experienced life at all? Because that stuff, compartmentalize, man. You're getting paid, fine. Also, really hard to do. And when you add, yes, there's now added pressure with the money. Yep, money is cool. Money is nice to have, all of that. Also, yep, even more now in terms of demands on time, even more in terms of fans telling you what a bum you are when you lose or how great you are when you win. Right? I mean, even more access so that you're hearing that stuff, good and bad. The rat poison, as James Franklin and Nick Saban call it. So, I don't know what all's went.
Your boys last night were mentioning, so what?
Yeah.
And you know what? On my ride home last night, Carrie said to me, I like that so much better than want to know.
Well,
it's involved with everything, and I'm like,
yes. Are you going to let that affect you? The so what if you're not familiar with it? I think we've talked about it here too. But the so what? Pretty early on, maybe right out of the gate with Kale, but they had. I still have one actually, but they had T-shirts that just say "So what" on the back. I think it's the Nittany Lionhead logo and maybe wrestling or something on the front, but it just says "So what" on the back. And what it means is, are you going to let anything get in the way of your goals? And like we all have, as I was just saying, I mean, life gets in the way sometimes, right?
And school, these are young kids.
And I mean, and we can bring it to our personal life. Like I've had it's been a nutty week and a half, just a lot going on, and not even anything bad. It's just, man, it's just been one thing after the other, and time is tight here, time is tight there. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, but now you have a show to do. So what that you have this meeting or that errand that you have to run? Like right now, what does that matter? So what? And again, you can apply it to any part of your life. It's
Absolutely.
like, oh, you had a bad day at work. Well, what does that have to do with your coming home to your wife? Like that's so what? Like, love on your wife, love on your family. Again, you can apply it across the board. It's like, well, so what? Like
that's what Carrie did.
That's one part of.
She said my dad died in July. My husband's in a walker since July. I come home. I got to take care of my father. I got to take care of my husband now. And then we got to put a dog down 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
she's like, so what, man? So what? It's like, what are you going to do next? So what? Your life is not over. Life, you have to push through it, work through it. And she was really into what they were saying. It's pretty cool, man.
No, and it is. It's and again, it is one of those things. It is much easier said than done. There was a great story. I will stick with the inspirational theme for a moment. Tom Gravish was one of the inductees who went into the Center County Sports Hall of Fame on Sunday, and I'm fortunate enough to MC that event, have done it every year, and absolutely love being involved with it. The history and the tradition of sports here in Center County, we just have not had anybody inducted yet that is not an obvious choice, and there's still probably at least 50 to 60 names, and it's like, well, yeah, those people obviously have to be in the Center County Sports Hall of Fame. But Tom Gravish was one of them that went in, and he shared a story. And, you know, I love the if T-shirts with Penn State. I love them too. And it's frustrating because you want that stuff to then pay off with the result of a win, and obviously it didn't. And when you look at the but you got to keep motivating yourself, right? And I think so. Tom Gravish was telling the story. One of his first years at Bellefonte, I don't remember now if it was his first year or what, but one of his first. They got off to a 1-3 or a 1-4 start, and they had a game down in the Pittsburgh area, and they were, or actually, I'm sorry, I think they were actually going to. Now I forget if it was a Steelers or a Pirates game. It's kind of a team bonding experience, and so they're going to whatever sporting event it was, and they're coming through the Squirrel Hill Tunnel, and the one, I think it was a captain of the team, is like, guys, do you see this? There's light at the end of the tunnel. There's light, and they kind of use that as the rallying cry then. He's like, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And they get through it, and there's the light, and it's like, and they end up going on a 5-game win streak to close out the season, got to the playoffs, the whole bit. And it's just one of those things. And slogans are great when they work, right? And then if you have a slogan and you're not successful, then they get poo-pooed. Oh, success with honor. How's that working out for you now? Oh, okay. But the intent is still good. And it's just, the same with James Franklin. There are people giving him all kinds of grief. Again, you show me the person who has won a national championship in anything and didn't have it as a goal. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Now, are there lots of people that have it as a goal that fall short? Sure. But step one, the people that don't win championships 100% of the time are the people that are, I hope we get to the playoffs. Boy, that'd be cool if we get to the playoffs. Well, you're not winning a national title. I hope I can be a good wrestler. I want to start on the team. If I can be the starter, that's my goal. Well, that's fine, and you're not winning a national title. So part of it is, your aspiration has to line up with whatever the highest achievement is. And there's going to be a lot of people falling short. There's no shame in falling short. I think selling yourself short, either as an individual or as a team, then you're shortchanging yourself. And I think that would be disappointing. And all of those slogans and all of that, again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you so what is why Penn State is winning. But when you live that day in and day out, when you see the coaches preaching it and then living it out, and you see the wrestlers who have been around the program talking about it and living it out day after day, well, yeah, then it becomes part of the culture.
I have a slogan for next week.
Yeah.
Who's going to step up? Who's going to make the play? Who's going to make a tackle? Who's going to make a catch? Who's going to lead this team? Who?
Yeah.
Who is it?
So this Ohio State game to me is fascinating on a number of different fronts. One of which is, while Penn State has, I think a couple people have actually picked up on this, Goon, that they haven't won a lot of games against the Buckeyes. I don't know if you're aware of that in recent years.
Info.
But you know what they've been is really competitive game in and game out. I will tell you, just watching this Ohio State team the couple of times I have, and going back, 2016, for example, going into that game, like there were a lot of people, well, yeah, there's no chance of Penn State winning this game. The question is, how competitive could they be? That was the attitude of a lot of folks going into that game, and it wasn't an unreasonable take, by the way. And so, but Penn State obviously finds a way, gets a monstrous win, and sets the tone really for the rest of the now ended James Franklin era. But if you and then we get into the whole, all right, we're going to do everything we can to be elite. And all right, fell short of that. Still really, really good, very consistently from that point on was the Penn State program. That win over Ohio State, I just compare the opportunity, I guess, here at hand. I feel similarly, I think, to how I felt then, because I just don't see the line play that would allow Penn State to be competitive. And Penn State somehow just seems to always be competitive with Ohio State. So we'll see how this plays out. Again, to me, on paper, Goon, this feels like a mismatch now, with Penn State doing what it's done over the last 4 games and Ohio State seemingly getting better and better each week. Julian Sayin is having himself a season. And I think Ohio State has to be looking at Penn State and say, well, man, we can run up the middle all day long. Like, that is there for us. But they also have a quarterback that is completing 80% of his passes, Goon. So the point is, this Ohio State offense is facing a Penn State defense that has been struggling. And it feels like they are just on another plane. And then you go to the other side of the ball and you have a first-time starter at quarterback, and now you're down to nobody wants to think about it if Grunk goes down now, because suddenly that position is really, really thin. And, Grunk did not look great, a very tough atmosphere, all of that. It's just hard to envision. It's hard for me to picture, and I tend to be the glass half full guy. I'm not seeing how this thing plays out as being a competitive game in Columbus, meaning that there's any doubt going into the fourth quarter as to who wins it. And I want to be wrong, obviously. The line play and the quarterback difference right now. Yep. And I'm not sitting here banging on Grunkmeyer. It's his first career start.
I want to ask you, how many Division I teams have a solid backup? It's so easy for guys to transfer
in this day and age. So that is the other thing
crazy.
I want to get into. We'll take a break here. The two things on the coaching search and just college football in general. I want to talk about kind of how this season is playing out and what we're seeing across college football, because I do think it's pretty fascinating. And I think there's still a lot of things that could happen that could make this a wild playoff scene when we get to that stage of the year. But also our take now on coaching and what that looks like, what the opportunities are here for Penn State and now Florida, and potentially down the road maybe USC, maybe LSU. I mean, there's some big time opportunities opening.
Jeez.
And there are some coaches doing some good things that prior to the era we're in, Goon, I think we would all say, well, clearly if that job opens up, that guy's going to go from there to there. I'm not so sure now, and certainly example one is Kurt Signetti and $11 million plus per season to coach football at Indiana. We'll see what happens. I think there's a lot of schools talking to a lot of coaches right now about, hey, let's see if we can get a long-term deal done here because we want to keep you here. We don't want Florida or Penn State or any of these other schools to poach you. So we'll talk about those two things as we continue. It is our Tuesday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker Steak and Lube.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help.
Wanna see ya in a Kia.
If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future. offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS once again.
Your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox State College. The Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back on this Tuesday afternoon, and a bye week, of course, for Penn State football. Nittany Lions now 0-4 in Big Ten play, and a 4-game losing streak. Of course, Terry Smith losing his debut as the interim coach for the Nittany Lions. One of the things that to me is just fascinating is the perception and how quickly perception changes regarding this next head coach for Penn State and the search for that coach. Because, and I think we talked about it last week, and I don't think there's not like that one person out there where, man, if they bring that guy in, everybody's going to be fired up. I mean, even like a Nick Saban, and Saban's not coming. Urban Meyer,
no.
I'm convinced is not coming.
More people will be mad at a
yes,
Urban.
in either, and I think even with Saban, because again, I think that there is, I think rightfully the perception that the game, they are not built for this era of college football.
No, sir.
And I really don't think either would have the type of success they had previously. And I could be wrong about that. I don't think we'll ever find out because I don't think either of them are getting back into the coaching ranks. So I could be wrong about that.
But they sure had their opinions on it, though, huh?
Yeah,
Jeez.
and I that's great. I think.
Well, if it's self-serving, though, for their a personal favor to somebody or an agent, that's what gets me a little. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know that I buy. I don't know that I buy into that much.
Well,
you really think that's why? I think it has much more to do with the coaching fraternity than it does the agent. I think coaches look out for coaches.
Well, I don't think
know.
Saban's never said a bad word about Penn State ever. But then he comes out next to James Franklin. They share the same agent. I get it. And he says it was completely unfair what Penn State had done. And, he had enough chips that, he didn't. He didn't have enough chips to withstand a losing season like that. The way he talked in the preseason and the media, there's no way he had enough chips to back up or to get a free pass for a bad season. No way. I'm sorry, he didn't. And then,
clearly that is the case. Whether or not he should, and that was Saban's point, I think is still a debatable point.
He should have had enough chips. But do you think that the effort that they gave against Northwestern, that Pat was going to say, "Oh, they're going to change this and turn this around"? I just saw that as the final straw, that they weren't going to play for James. It was just a done. I'm sorry, I got you off track here, but I want to go.
No,
let's talk about the Franklin thing. I just like. Okay, so the same guys that have been bashing James Franklin on that stage for the last 4 or 5 years, big game James, all of them, and then it just turned into a fluff piece. It just turned into a butt kissing thing.
I thought there should have been. I thought there should have been some follow-ups, more from Reese Davis. I mean, Nick Saban's not the one that's been pointing out James Franklin's been 4-21 against top 10 teams. Nick Saban's not the one that's been out there touting those numbers.
I got you. But if they're going down to Pickett and stuff like that, all the record against the spread, against the top 10 teams, all of this and all that's come into play. And then it just seemed like, and I said it on a Nitwit Sunday night. I said to Neil, I said, well, he said, Billy Napier was fired this afternoon. I said, well, when's his game day piece? Are we just going to throw this out there to all these guys and say, oh, you're a great coach? In my opinion, that was a recruiting effort on James's part too. The next place he goes, that
of
to all
course.
his recruits and all his players, like, hey, we're going to win the title somewhere else. Let's go. And I was like, I didn't appreciate that. Now I appreciate the fact that James showed class and didn't bash on Penn State. I don't think he would.
No,
I don't think he has the ability to do that, the right to do that. I mean, how he was treated and this and that. But it's like, again, I just go to the Northwestern game. It's like they called out. They quit. They were done. They weren't going to change and play hard against Iowa and Ohio State if they weren't going to do it with Northwestern. It had to be done. Had to be done then and there. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just. And I said it before. If they didn't come out with that effort, he should have been fired. And I'm Pat showed some.
Yeah, I don't know. Effort is a hard thing. I don't know. It looked to me like some of those runs were a little too easy. If there was maximum effort out there defensively against Iowa, maybe we're just seeing
more
things
speaking
a little
offensively.
Well, but again,
nobody made plays again.
Yeah, so that I don't know. I mean, we're going to. It's a circular argument at the end of the day. I like James Franklin brought in the players, the coaches, all of that. So if you want to hold them accountable as far as that goes, fine. But I'm really not sure we saw that much greater effort against Iowa than we saw against Northwestern or certainly against Oregon. And we'll see what happens with Ohio State. Again, bash on James Franklin as much as you want for the record. They were in pretty much every game with Ohio State from 2016 on. We'll see what happens.
Does that
here.
make it more frustrating?
I think for Penn State fans, sure. We'll see what happens in Columbus this year. I think there is something to be said for being competitive in those big games. We'll see how this thing plays out. The move's been made. It's ridiculous to argue one way or the other. We'll never know how this thing would have played out under James Franklin, and waste of time to try to surmise. I think we're going to see how it actually plays out, and then again, what is the next move for Penn State? And no matter who it is. And Matt Rule still, I was listening to, and there's a lot of folks that, now that they just got crushed by Minnesota. Minnesota ran all over them. You don't want Matt Rule in as your next head coach. And this is just, it's the nature of the sports fan is they are ready to run Dabo Swinney out of town at Clemson. He's won 2 national titles. Again, there's only
in the Saban era.
There's only 3 active coaches that have won national titles, and he's one of them, and he has 2 of the titles. And by the way, I'm not even saying they're wrong, because I do think Dabo has not adjusted to the modern era of college football, to the era we're in. He's been, to me, absurdly reluctant with the transfer portal stuff, and I think they've been slow to the game on the NIL stuff, and I think you're seeing it. And I think Louisville and its big win over Miami, all of these things. So now Jeff Brom is the hot. Oh, you got to talk to Jeff Brom, and I think Jeff Brom is a terrific coach. My point is, I think there's actually about 25 to 40 really good top-level coaches. But you've got to have everything, as we've talked about, Goon. You got to have everything in place and kind of moving in the same direction. So do I think Matt Rule could go win national titles? Oh, look at his record against well, yeah, but again, like James Franklin, the overwhelming majority of those games, he had the lesser roster in terms of star talent, recognized talent coming out of high school, and his teams were substantial underdogs. Shocker. They lost a lot of those games.
What?
Well, yeah, that's kind of the way that works. The exception to the rule is what we've seen Curt Cignetti do these last couple of years with Indiana, and so he becomes the hot commodity, and we'll see. I mean, maybe he'll be able to sustain that. I want to see how that plays out over the next 5 or 6 years.
He's a great recruiter because he's got a big pocketbook.
Well,
and this is the big thing about coaching right now. I mean,
but it's not just a big pocketbook that you need, because Texas has a big pocketbook. How's that working out? Florida has a big pocketbook. How's that working out? Tennessee has a huge pocketbook. How's that working out?
I mean, I said this a couple of years ago, and if you remember, I said, it just seemed like the Texas kids, and when I've talked about, like, I've heard not a rumor, but there's a thing that people say that Texas players don't get better. They're just so well coached in high school that they're maxed out by the time they get to college. It almost seems like we turned into that, because it's like none of our guys really ever improved. Like, someone was explaining to me this weekend, and I was like, what? And then I'm thinking about it, like, these kids come in like ready to go, and they're playing and balling, and then it's like they really never really get that much better than they were as freshmen. Drew, our two running backs, our offensive line.
Yeah, it just seems like over that. No, I would disagree with that. And Abdul Carter, Tyler Warren,
but Abdul Carter came in as
player development. He didn't come in as the man in all of the country.
I thought he came in here. I mean, he's from my high school, so I knew he came in there pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it was just like that was a knock on Texas for a long time, that their players are not getting better when they're in college, because they're so much they're pretty much developed by the time they get to college, because they're so well coached in high school. And I'm saying, is that what we're running into in Penn State? Because I've had a lot of people tell me our guys don't seem to get better, and it was like, holy crap, man! I really don't think about that. I mean, a receiver development. I mean, Tyler Warren's gonna be Tyler Warren. Micah Parsons and Abdul Carter are going to be Abdul Carter and Micah Parsons, I think. I mean, has our Zane Durant gotten better? DeLuca, I don't know. I mean, Rosa came in here a star. He came in as playing as a true freshman, as a stud. And I think he was getting. I truly believe he was getting better. He was doing a lot more this year, and then he gets hurt. So I don't know. It's just so what people. I'm here, the man of the people, Jeff. The man of the people.
Boy, I think it would. I think that's a hard argument to make, that James Franklin didn't develop the talent.
He bought it in. I mean, that just goes back to what I'm saying about the money thing, though, too, recruiting. I mean, everybody say, well, James is a great recruiter. I was like, well, the recruiting aspect of the world is done right now. I truly believe that. It's like guys are going for the money. Are we really recruiting guys? We're just saying, hey, here's $2 million for you. Well, Notre Dame's giving me $3 million. Well, then you're going to go to Notre Dame.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's that perception, and I don't think that is reality. I really don't.
You're still going to like the coach that you're going to get play for.
No, and I think there's a lot that goes into it. And it's just like, it's the same thing with the coach. Money is a factor, for sure, and there are undoubtedly some kids and families, and by the way, in some cases for very good reason, where they are going to go to where the biggest dollar sign is being presented to them. But I really think the majority of kids and families are still, maybe I'm naive, but I do. I think they are. Now, if you're offering $1,000,
if the money's
annually,
the same,
and this guy's offering $2 million, okay. But if one is offering $400,000 and the other's offering $500,000, and the $400,000, you feel like that's a better degree, they have a better program, you feel like you fit in better with the culture there. You're looking at the player development, and if your goal is the NFL, all of those things. I mean, I think there's different things that will attract different kids, and money is certainly part of the equation. Now, I'm not sitting here suggesting that the kids are coming in and I don't care at all what you pay me. No, they want to know what they're getting. But I really don't think in the majority of cases that the kids are just going to where the highest salary is being offered.
But if it comes down to money, money that a coach is involved, and if you like the coach, but if Notre Dame's going to offer me $1 million, Penn State's going to offer me $500,000,
you've got to be competitive. But this is the other thing: is we're seeing a lot more schools that I think I was anticipating be competitive on the. Thus, you're having a Georgia Tech, a Texas Tech, a Indiana, all. Where's Penn State? Where's Texas? These are the big money. I mean, that's where the big money is. Penn State, Texas, Clemson. They're not.
They got paid.
So Louisville.
Hey, NFL running backs, when they get money, they're not hungry anymore. I mean, it might be an issue. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying that's what's the problem, but it could be an issue.
Well, and again, we're going to see how this thing plays out. I think it's also now fascinating to watch what is going to happen here with some of these coaches, and I think they will get more money. But Lane Kiffin, right, I think many have presumed, all right, Florida job opens up, Lane will be going to Florida if and when that happens. Ole Miss, I am suspecting, will make a substantial offer. And then if you're Lane Kiffin, I think it will be, you're going to sit there and wait. Yep, there's going to be more money, I think, at Florida offered than Ole Miss, whatever Ole Miss ponies up. But not quite the same pressure at Ole Miss. There's pressure, I get it, but it's not the same at Ole Miss.
Still on a honeymoon down there.
They're not demanding that you win the national title next year or it's a bust. Yep. And so again, he'll weigh that out and figure it out for himself. Jeff Brom he's at his alma mater, and from everything you read, I think he genuinely loves Louisville in that school. Now, if Penn State comes and says, "We'll double your salary," does Louisville one say, "Nope, we got you. We can match that or come close to it to make it worthwhile for you to stay home"?
Imagine.
Does Jeff Brom want to go? Listen, he may have Louisville in contention for a national title this year. Well, getting to the playoffs there is a huge deal, and he will be celebrated. If he comes to Penn State and they go to the playoffs and lose in the first round, they're not celebrating Jeff Brom's accomplishments here in Happy Valley. So again, I think there's a lot of folks that are just presuming that if Penn State offers here, then that guy comes. And the perception thing is also just interesting to me because I've heard, Matt Rule, he hasn't won a national championship. He's not winning big anywhere. What makes you think he would do it at Penn State? Well, has he had anything close to what Penn State is going to have
talent-wise
in place?
Yeah.
Well, the whole bit, yeah. The established, the administration pulling in the same direction, all of it. Manny Diaz, Ironhead, he wasn't even successful at Miami. He's already a failed head coach. Well, do you think maybe he learned some things the way, I don't know, maybe Nick Saban learned some things when he was at Michigan State? Do you think maybe he took some lessons learned there, applied them at LSU, and then applied them at Alabama? Do you think maybe Manny Diaz, who looks like he's doing a very good job with an undermanned Duke program, well, yeah, but they're not winning big. Well, right, because again, look at the program and where they are at. It's just, again, it is fascinating to me to see people's perceptions and one game or one loss here or one win here. And, oh, no, that's the hot guy. That's the guy we got to get. I think Pat Kraft is savvy enough to know, they have to find somebody. And really, it is somebody's. It's not just the head coach. I do think they need to realign the general manager. The role that it is right now is not what it needs to be in the future.
Cadence together,
right? And they need to get everything lined up along those lines structurally. I was just listening to somebody talk the other day. Franklin was a CEO coach, and he blew it with the coordinators. Just two lousy coordinators, big names, but, man, they're lousy. I'm not nearly as convinced that they're as lousy as you're making them out to be. I think Jim Knowles does run a complicated defense pretty much everywhere he's been. It's been the second year, which – there were some concerns when he was brought in. It's like, Penn State needs to be ready to go this year. And this thing, traditionally, it's the second year where it starts to really take hold under Jim Knowles. And, we had ourselves convinced. I had myself convinced that, this is the exception to that because of the experience that this Penn State team has and the talent, quite frankly, that it has across the board. And I still don't know whether we just over-evaluated the talent. Again, I know the Rojas injury was significant. Obviously, the Aller injury is significant for the remainder of the season here. And there's been a couple of injuries here on the offensive line through the year with Cousins and Donko, and so all of that plays into it. There's no question, and you have great depth until you suffer 2 or 3 injuries. You have 2 quarterbacks now out. All of a sudden, that depth is looking very thin, and I think you still don't really know what you have in Grunkmeyer. I know there are people ready to make the, he's just not a big time. Well, one game in, it did not look great at Iowa in his first start. I'm willing to see how this thing unfolds a little bit more before we make this. But the other part of it is there's a lot of concern about the recruits that have decommitted. Pretty much everybody has at least opened up, even those that are still quote-unquote committed are saying, I'm still going to take a couple more visits now and all of that. Again, once whoever comes in, there's going to be people say, if it's somebody from another school, whether it's as a coordinator or a head coach, you would think we're going to get some players from that school transfer in with the coach to Penn State. And then part of it will depend on whether some of these guys recommit to Penn State. I think part of it will be, does a Terry Smith remain part of the future staff? Does Dion Barnes? You go down the list, and no way to know that at all right now. But I think there's a lot of things that still come into play. But between the transfer portal and the recruiting, again, I think whoever comes in, there's going to be good money here at Penn State. There's going to be the name brand, everything else. For folks that are getting worked up on the recruiting front, I would just urge you not to. I think that's going to take care of itself. It may be an entirely different roster, an entirely different team. That could be. I think it's still going to be a very good roster and a very good team when it's all said and done. But there is that unknown and that uncertainty. And any of us in any part of our life, right? We don't like uncertainty,
man. So many dynamics go into it. I mean, you got to have a coach that, again, understands kids, understands football, understands NIL, understands the transfer portal, the reason why James was almost, I would think, people would say he seemed like he was checked out going through the motions. That's a lot that he's a self-admitted micromanager, There's just so much that goes into it. I don't think that the older coaches like Saban and Meyer, I just don't think they have that in them. What's going to happen when Urban Meyer rips Grunkmeyer apart in a practice? Embarrasses him, disrespects him, this and that, talks about his play, stuff like that, an offensive lineman, a tackle, a D lineman, a corner, when he starts chewing into them. And it's just so easy for these guys to transfer. I just think that they jump. I just think that that kind of coach is gone. And I'm slowly starting to come to the realization that college football might be gone if the rate we're going right now. Kirk Cignetti is going to make $11.5 million. We're 12 years away from this scandal where they get Joe Paterno fired. The all-time winningest coach in the history of college football retired 12 years ago. He did not make $1 million. Yeah. And now we have coaches making $11.5 million. It's gone up $1 million a year, in essence. Where's that ceiling? Where's this NIL ceiling? Where is, again, I go back to, we're just going to have new schools every year come in and out. They're going to be good for a year and this and that. And then, they're going to have a bad year because they didn't do the same money, or then the rich schools are going to have a bad year, and then they're going to put more money in there, or they're going to be mad for a year. Then they're going to be mad that they lost, and they'll put more money in. It's again, we go back to the whole thing. The NIL is just not a feasible. I think Mark Brennan said it the best on Nitwitch the other night. It was like the NCAA and the colleges felt so bad about how guys in my era and the 50s, 60s, 70s, for the first 80 years of football, they felt bad for that era because they got nothing and all these schools were making this much money, that they just went to the whole opposite extreme. And just again, somebody has some forward thinking. If you pay a kid $10,000 a month, all the kids $10,000, who is going to complain about that?
Yes.
That should have been done
just
10, 15 years ago. It could have been $5,000 a month. 20 years ago, no one's complaining about making $60,000 a year when you're a college kid, 18 to 20. And now we're, it's just, again, it's not sustainable. It's not feasible. It's just insane. There's just built-in excuses to it everywhere. And I don't think those new coaches are coming in. You're going to have a guy like the key guy at Georgia Tech. It's just alumni. Boom, Braum at Louisville. They're the hot commodities. They're going to go get paid right now. But is their style of coaching going to work with the higher paid players? Because their kids are still hungry, in my opinion. Those Louisville kids and Georgia Tech kids aren't making Florida and Penn State money. Hell no. They're playing better than them. Now, what's the difference? I mean, I don't know. Are our guys paid and they're fat and happy? Florida guys are fat and happy. I mean, I can't. There's not one thing I should say.
Well, yeah, because Ohio State should be fat and happy then. My gosh, fatter and happier than anybody.
It worked for them.
They sure seem to be playing motivated football throughout the season to date.
I mean, all they did was make it legal.
So
out in Columbus, Bubba.
Yeah.
Let's just say maybe it was going on there for a long time, and they just made it legal now.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of sour grapes from a lot of fan bases.
I'm kidding.
All
good,
throughout the country.
You're right. They're making a lot of money. They have the highest payroll, and they won, and they keep it going. So,
yeah, and again, they have
they keep them happy.
We'll get to some of the comments here on the other side of this break. We are at the top of the hour. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. We appreciate your doing so, and we're back with much more after this on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things. Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors. People invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back on a Tuesday afternoon.
Beautiful.
Lots of
fall.
Lots of fun discussions here for sure. All right, let's go through some of the comments. Very proud of Coach Terry Smith from Sally. Yeah, I think every Penn Stater feels good about having Terry there. Hello, gentlemen. Hello. As
we
I
love
said
Sally.
last week, no more slanting defensive linemen. What do you guys think about Urban Meyer with Dan Mullen in the waiting as OC to take over for Urban? I just don't think Urban Myers has any desire to get back into it. I think it's worth a phone call.
Could Urban be a GM, a face? I don't know.
Possibly.
I don't know if a coach would want to work for that kind of situation because Urban would want to be the face and the head coach. I don't know. Maybe he would want what was it? Brett Key, the guy at Georgia Tech. He's an old lineman. He could handle that.
Florida would be a good spot for Franklin or Ole Miss. Yeah, I think if Lane Kiffin were to take the Florida job,
okay,
I do think Ole Miss would make some sense to me for James Franklin.
You think he wants to go back to SEC?
I think he just wants to coach again. But yeah, I think he wants to get into.
I think he's going to wait on an ACC job personally.
You think
he could own it? He could own the ACC. He could be the big thing. I mean, he really. I mean, he could take Florida State. I mean, they're a hungry crew who are. They ain't been eating in a while, so they're going to be hungry. So
yeah, and
it's all speculation.
Yeah, no, Florida State I think would be a.
But I think that he would be. I don't know if he would work that well at Clemson, but I think he would work at Florida State. I just the Clemson
I think
fan
he would
base
work
is
at Ole Miss too. I really do.
I don't know if he would want to go back to the SEC. I mean, I mean, listen, you know James. I know James is a competitive guy. He'd want to do it, but he's going to want to win. I mean, the SEC is an absolute bear. I mean, bear.
Yeah, I don't know that it's any more of a bear than the Big Ten, top to bottom. I really don't.
And then you just think about it. LSU might open up this year. Yeah. So I was watching some guy. You're going through the comments, so go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I don't know if LSU. We'll get into that too, because like LSU and Florida, I think Franklin would like either of those jobs. I'm just not sure those fan bases would be looking at Franklin.
No, he's not a home run hire.
Right, and that's whereas I think Ole Miss would be
happy.
I mean, they want Lane Kiffin to stay, but if he doesn't,
you think we're fickle?
I think
as
Franklin,
a fan base.
Yeah, I think Franklin would be good there. I do think Florida State, and if you saw the folks that are tracking the flights, apparently there was a plane that
all right, I have to admit.
Yep.
I went and followed it. It came from Baltimore to State College to Tallahassee, and then 45 minutes later went to Los Angeles. So explain that one.
Yeah.
I could do it if you want me to.
Go ahead.
It was Jimmy Sexton in Baltimore, but the man lives in Memphis. And picking up James Franklin at State College, who was actually in Florida probably, or, he wasn't in State College, I do not think, to Tallahassee to pick up somebody to go take on the UCLA job. That's the only thing I can explain because it had nothing to do with James Franklin or a Penn State football coach, in my opinion. but it is fun to watch.
It is. Goon is 100%. Almost zero players improve under Franklin.
I mean,
I
don't
think
want
that's a tough argument to make.
It is an argument you can make.
I mean, I guess
You can-
but
you better come to the table with
NFL
some-
track record is would fight against you.
All right, well, here
I mean, if we're going to say, well, the guys were Abdul Carter was already great when he got here. Well, then, then Ohio State doesn't develop anybody because all of those guys
They're
are
all great.
5-star guys. I
They're
mean,
all great.
you can't say.
I'm ashamed to say this.
Give the coaching staff credit when guys go and have success at the NFL level. And you go back over the years. I mean, like just to apply it to like wrestling, like David Taylor was going to be great wherever he went. But do you not think Cal Sanderson developed him?
Nope.
Well, he didn't get any better. He lost the title. his
Cal doesn't
junior
develop
year.
talent either.
I mean, it all goes hand in hand. You have to have great players, but I think you have to develop them in order for
In my opinion, I don't think running backs need to be developed. What do you really teach? You're teaching them an offense. That's the development they have. Either you have it or you don't, in my opinion.
To a large degree, I think
O-line,
that's
you got to have
probably
your
true.
strength. You need your strength needs to be there.
Yeah.
On your D-line, your strength obviously needs to be there. That's the biggest thing. When your strength and your weight need to be there in the offensive line. Good weight, not just a 340-pound slob coming in from high school. Because you know my feelings on that. If a kid's 340 in high school, that's fat.
Yeah.
There's no 17-year-old who has muscular development of being 340 pounds at 17 years old. No one does that.
We don't stop the run or shut down intermediate pass patterns because we have no linebackers. That's how we end up losing every game, including to Notre Dame last year.
I have heard a lot of my linebacker friends complaining about the linebacker depth that we have here.
It was the one spot. I mean, we talked about going into the season. It felt like, I think we were wrong, but we thought that the depth was there up and down the lineup, with the exception of the linebacker spot. And obviously with Rojas going out, it has been brutal. It has been brutal without him in there. There's no question about that. And, I think they need to address that. I also I don't know that that's the sole reason Penn State loses the games that they've lost. Whenever you have losses, right, then understandably you're trying to explain them. Again, Penn State was in the national semifinals. They were one drive away, one mistake away from at least having a chance to go play for the national championship a year ago. So, and really the same thing. It's a waste of time, but it's kind of a fun waste of time to think about if Penn State had stopped Oregon on that fourth down, or if Penn State scores, however it comes about, they win that game over Oregon.
Yep.
Like, what are we talking about now?
Resting,
Like,
relaxing, and getting ready
is,
for Ohio State, one versus two.
It is hard to imagine that they wouldn't have won those next three, to me. And again, maybe we'll never know that alternative universe, but I'm not saying it's guaranteed. Maybe they're too full of themselves coming off of that win, and UCLA still puts together that effort. But it just it feels like this whole thing plays out differently, if not for just one. Now, the Aller injury, the Rojas injury, like that, if all of that still plays out, we're still looking at I think, a pretty tough circumstance for Penn State here moving into these next couple of games.
I do. I mean, I hate going back and talking about this show last night, but Landon made a great point on the player show last night, and he says this thing with Franklin and Penn State, and you could talk about the team being it not just one thing. It's like a divorce. It's never just one thing. It's stuff that builds up, and there are certain things that where did it go wrong? Where did it go wrong? Where did it go wrong? And where did it end? It was a pretty good analogy. I mean, parents must have gone through a divorce or something, because he's had a lot of time to think about it. I don't know, but there's nothing that James did. There's not one thing that you can say to James that's why he got fired, and there's not one thing that you can say about this team that's why we're losing. It's a team effort. There's a lot of stuff going wrong in every aspect of this team. We're not getting the rolls like Terry had said last week. The ball did not bounce our way the last 3 or 4 weeks. Last year, it did every time we needed the ball to bounce our way. We got it. And it just hasn't happened yet. And then, is that, again, I look at it like that because there's a lot of facets that go into why this team is not playing. Why did James Franklin lose his job? There's a lot of different things that go into it, but there's not just one pinpoint issue. Right?
Yep. Yes, no question. And I think I don't think the general public, and I don't know that in the locker room either, that we really know exactly what has gone wrong. As you said, I think multiple things. And I just get the feeling that there's some things that we don't know about. I don't know whether we will learn about. Yeah. And I don't know what they are. I mean, I'm not trying to be. I'm telling you, I don't know what they are. But there's something that occurred here to go from where this team was at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And again, I give them credit. And if they had won the game, you win the game. But it didn't feel right for 3 quarters there against Oregon, right? Like even if they had pulled out that win,
first 3 games,
and again, we'd be celebrating them and we'd be getting ready for, I think, a battle of the unbeaten and all that. But there still would be like, man, something just isn't quite right here, and I don't know what it is, but it just has not looked right from the start, in particular up front. Anyways, back to the comments. Just watched 2011 Penn State, Ohio State, Carson Hodges, Stupar, plugging holes and clogging passing lanes. Long shot Franklin at UNC got hot spot for recruiting, I think it's supposed to be, but hard to win in the Rust Belt. Good recruiting on development. Only one I can think of is Gesicki had stone hands, and he did learn how to be a better pass catcher. Could we improve linebacker play if we stop slanting and stunning the D-line? I believe this would reduce traffic in front of the linebackers so they can shoot gaps. There seemed to be a major rift between Kraft and Franklin. They seemed further apart this year. And for Kraft to walk in and tell Franklin he has done 15 minutes before a team meeting.
I don't think that it was a team meeting, but when was he supposed to do it?
Well, that's the thing. So, and yeah, I mean, there's been a lot made, and do I think that was necessarily handled well by Franklin? No, but I don't think. And I could be wrong. I mean, maybe there was a lot more to it, and maybe that is part of the dynamic that changed here this year. Again, from the outside looking in, not knowing anything about the contractual ask over the summer.
Yeah.
Going into the season, it felt like everybody was pulling in the same direction. We talked about it several times that. Man, it feels like the administration, even the administration of the university, along with the athletic department administration, the coaches, the players, the managers, like everybody's just heading in the same direction here. Maybe that wasn't the case, and maybe somehow that did trickle down and was felt. I don't know. And maybe we're just reaching for straws.
I've heard this analogy too, Jeffrey. And again, this is just people coming to me and talking to me, and like these comment section right here. It's just people throwing little tidbits in there. Somebody said to me, and then when it came out that James did go to Pat in the summertime wanting an extension, which in itself is my mind is blown at that thought. Given how much like crap that has been going on about this extension from 5 years ago, that he would have that he would go to Pat and ask for an extension, and Pat, the rumor is that he said beat Ohio State and Oregon and we'll talk. So someone told me it just seemed like, and this goes back, it just seemed like they were just going through the motions. Starting in those first 3 games
of this season.
This season, that was like We should be out running 500 yards of offense on these teams right here and getting guys. We should have had 75 guys playing in each of those games. Yeah, we're struggling in them. It was like they were going through the motions. And then the Oregon game, we weren't prepared for it. It was just like, but then in the fourth quarter, we come back and have this great comeback, and everybody rises up. Then we lose in a double overtime in a horrible fashion. And then it just seemed like everybody just went through the motions at UCLA. Everybody, top to bottom. I mean, geez, Louise. I mean, I think the plane was late getting there. No one was ready for that game. And that's what happened. And it just blew up. And then it was like, everybody's done. And then the 1992 syndrome came into play. Where, I mean, do we have guys that are more worried about their NFL status? But let me tell you right now, your NFL status is going to go down if you're going to be known as a guy who quit on his team. Yeah. I mean, and then I mentioned the going through the motions part of it to somebody, and somebody was like, it did seem like James was out there in those first 3 games, and like this whole season, like it was just like he was talking a great game. It's going to be our best team, our best staff, and this and that, and then was just going through the motions, like just as Joe Paterno would say, you're not just going to roll your helmet out there and win this game, and that's what is almost expected. That's the attitude we had for those first 3 games, and UCLA, and then you've heard my feeling on Northwestern, and that was the final straw for me when you come off of a 2-game loss, literally the worst loss in Penn State, one of the worst losses in Penn State history, and you back it up with the second worst loss in Penn State history. I mean, it's time for a change.
Yeah. Something threw this team out of whack. Do you think the Kraft-Franklin relationship threw this team off? I mean, it could have been a contributing factor. It's hard to know. I don't know how many people knew about it. I don't know if anybody in the locker room. I mean, it's not something that James Franklin would have brought up, and I don't think it's something Pat Kraft. So I'm not sure.
Have we gotten
now? Could it have affected like Franklin's could it have affected the team without them knowing it was affecting them? Meaning, James Franklin, it was on his mind, or I mean, I guess have
we gotten confirmation that did happen? Has that been confirmed, or is that just a wild ass rumor? Did James or Sexton go to Pat and go for an extension?
Well, reportedly they went above.
That was the other thing. I mean, has that been confirmed?
Well, that's been reported. Yeah,
it's been reported that Pat said no, and then that James and Sexton went above him. Now, there's all kinds of scenarios I've heard of that one. That he went above Pat and to the president to get this extension. And then there was that's how he got his first extension is the word I had heard. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then that Sandy and Eric Barron had nothing to do with the last extension. I was like, come on, man. Again, it's all these conspiracy theories out there that people talk to me about. And I'm like, what? I want confirmation that the question was asked. And I want to know what the answer was. And then did he go around Pat's back trying to get an extension from behind Pat's back? Because if that happened, there's your sourness. I mean, the relationship soured to almost to be unattainable at that point, in my opinion. You better go win, and then you don't win, and you back that up with 2 just absolute 3-point touchdown favorite losses. Yeah. I mean, you're done. You checked out. That was it. So, again, I go back to I don't have a problem with Pat doing what he did for what I saw, but I would like to, were those stories true? Was that what happened? And if so, then you could see why he checked out. He didn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, and again, it's just such a different world we're living in, and it's been a hard world before the era that we're in. And fans have always been fickle, and things have always been can change quickly. But it just is, as you look at the national landscape right now all of a sudden Texas Tech, because of the money infused there, that's a hot opportunity.
That was a horrible
Georgia
loss.
Tech's looking good. Indiana's looking good. And then you have USC feels like this is a pretty pivotal stretch run here for Lincoln Riley and that program. It feels like it's an important stretch run here for Matt Rule and Nebraska, whether he wants the Penn State job or would take the Penn State job or not. This is an important finish second half of the season for Nebraska and Matt Rule. I think you across the board right now, you look at the fan bases are they are ready to turn. Ryan Day, again, is coming off a national title. They are playing. I think the general consensus would be right that they have clearly played the best football of anybody in the country.
Not one person's talking about the Ohio State this year.
Yeah, to this point in the season. That being said, if they lose to Michigan again at the end of this year, it is going to be a sizable faction, even if that's their only loss. And they go on and win another national title. There's going to be a faction of Ohio State fans that are still going to be very upset with Ryan Day.
Who is the biggest comparison to, with James Franklin not winning big games, i.e. Ohio State beating Michigan as being their big game. That think about what Herb Street and Galloway were saying, that they said that James Franklin is John Cooper. And then Ryan Day is John Cooper, but in a different world. John Cooper lost that game. Boom, you were out of national title contention with a loss back in the day. How many titles do you think John Cooper and playoffs he would have been in every year? He'd have been in the playoffs. And how many titles could they have won? How many titles could James Franklin have won? Getting into the playoffs or playoff wins and top 10 wins in the playoffs, if the playoff system was there like the last couple of years. You think, John Cooper, dude, those Ohio State teams were absolutely loaded, but there was that Michigan game they could not get over. But they could lose that game now and still get into the playoffs and not have to play Michigan and win the national title. Same thing with Ryan Day. He may not be Michigan, but if he wins the national title, you're going to keep your job.
Last question. Should we go the Indiana way with an NIL-heavy roster mixed with Deion Sanders' way of cutting players? No on the second part, and I think most Penn State fans would be in agreement there. But again, if the players leave, which is a distinct possibility depending on, again, who the coach is and what it's looking like. Yeah, I mean, NIL and transfer, the transfer portal is going to be a big part of the equation, certainly for next season. That feels inevitable. I don't see how that isn't the case.
If you get a super hot shot coming in here.
But who would be the super hot shot?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, is I don't think that person exists.
I got to say,
it's a figment of people's imagination.
Do you think that any of the Buffalo Bills staff would be a home run hire?
So me personally, yes. Do I think for the fan base, Joe Brady coming in here is going to get everybody, wow, I can't believe it, now we're going to win a national title? No, I don't. I think people will be excited, I think, as they learn about him. And I would love to see it. I really would. I think he would be.
I think he'd bring a pro attitude in here.
I don't know how much he wants to do the college thing.
Yeah, but we better have a general manager coming in here.
Yeah, all of the recruiting, all of the dealing with all of the things, and that's I'm a broken record on this, and I'm not. The move was made, so it doesn't matter. I'm just telling you, the idea that there is some kind of a guarantee that now Penn State's going to start winning national titles, let alone a national title in the next decade. It's more, I'm rooting for it. And could it happen? Yes. And do I think Pat Kraft is going to do everything within his power to make it happen? Sure. I think a lot of people will. And also, again, they're doing the same thing at 25 other different schools. Some of them have better footing and have more of a base than even Penn State does. So could it happen? Yes. The more likely scenario is, it doesn't happen. Not for another decade plus. It is really hard.
Yeah, the home run thing is, who is the home run?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think outside of Urban Meyer or Nick Saban, and even
what about the other Buffalo guy?
Even with either of those guys, if either of them were hired, there would be a segment of the fan base that would not be happy, would be resistant to it from the outset. But those are the two that are like clearly established winners, albeit not in this NIL transfer portal era of the game. And I just don't know that there are a lot of people. There are several people that I would be excited about. Georgia Tech's coach, Missouri's coach.
Stop stealing my O-line.
Iowa State's coach, I'd be fine with. I think there are some people that would not be. For me personally, I think Brady would be my preference. The Buffalo
There's other
Bills
people. There's other people saying McDermott might get out of the NFL. Again, these are just people just throwing it out there, and I heard it, and I was like, oh, God. I don't see any NFL guys wanting to come down to college the way it is right now. This is the absolute wild freaking West.
There's a lot more. I mean, the money has got to be appealing. But, yeah, there is a whole lot that you are responsible for. And, again, it can change good or bad, but, I mean, it can change in a heartbeat over the course of 2 or 3 games. It can really change drastically.
But wasn't Braum at Purdue? He was at Purdue.
Yep.
He did well, but it didn't do great.
Well, they upset
Ohio State. You're right.
They were pretty darn.
I remember that the night game at Purdue.
Urban Byers is the hot shot. Might be here for 4 years though, because he seems to have health issues at the 4-year mark.
How old is Urban Meyer?
You would take him. You would take Urban Meyer or a coach that had that pedigree for 2 years, if you could get him for 2 years.
How old is Urban?
I'd have to look that up,
I'm asking.
Go ahead.
61.
So So I mean, he's up there, but there are. There are. I think with any coach, you're not getting a guy, and I think this has to be understood as part of the equation. It is very unlikely. I shouldn't say you're definitively not. It is very unlikely that no matter who, I don't care if you're getting the 35-year-old can't miss, everybody agrees that is the number one guy in the world. The chances that he will stay here for more than 15 years, but for more than 10 years is it's not great that anybody is going to stay at any one place. And again, it's a combination of things. It's the fickle fan base that we just talked about. Luke, it's also, again, this is going to be an even higher burnout position than it's been. It is all-consuming, and there are so many different elements to it now, and it is just exhausting. And say what you want about James Franklin, I think he genuinely thrives in this era, in this world. He seems to love it, and I think he will get back into coaching. I don't think just listening to him talk on game day, and it was a rehab, and I want to make sure people know this is what I want to do effort. But I do think it is genuine that he loves all of these different components. He loves it. Or at least likes it enough that he's able to do what he does love doing as part of the overall scope of what his job entails now.
Because he's a self-admitted micromanager, and he enjoys it. This is what you have to do in the business. But I did say last night that the James Franklin thing reminds me of the Andy Reid in Philadelphia. It was just time. It was just time to move on. I wish all the success and luck to James Franklin in the world, as long as it doesn't interfere with my team. I hope that James wins the national title, as long as it's not over my team. I mean, I don't have any kind of ill will towards James Franklin. I thought he did great stuff for Penn State. We're very appreciative of that. Time was up. It was just like Andy Reid in Philadelphia. Time had run its course, and he went out to Kansas City and has had great success. But guess who's rooting for him? A lot of Philadelphia Eagle fans. It did not end bad. I don't think the Franklin thing ended bad. I mean, people could say, well, you fired him mid-season. Okay, but maybe he wanted out. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seemed like he wasn't there because we're losing the Northwestern game the third time. I mean, that means he wasn't there, and the time was up, so I'm not going down that road again. But it just seemed it was like that. And then you're not going to have – I said it last night again. I keep on harping on last night's show. You're never – I mean, Joe Paterno's 324 – might start getting up there with Cale Ripken's record as one of those unattainable records. I mean, you can coach 30 years and win 10 games a year, and you still do not have his record. 30 years winning 10 games. Those days are gone when you're going to have the coach who's going to be there for 20 years would be amazing anymore. 10 to 15 is a hell of a hire. You know? Yeah. I mean, that's where we're at. That's how I feel right now about it. I mean, people run their course and stuff like that, and it is what it is, and people got to move on. That's the world we live in.
Horse thinking it'll be Matt Campbell, the Iowa State coach, or Eli Drinkwitz, the
I'm okay with either
Missouri
one of them,
coach.
but does it get the fan base saying, hell yeah, I'm going out and buying season tickets now?
If they win a national title, it does.
Well, you know,
until then, it'll be. I want to see how they'll get behind them. Either of those guys. I think they'll get behind whoever it is. But
I like Key. I like Key at Georgia Tech. He's an offensive lineman, so he knows how to take
I like
orders.
their offensive coordinator down there too, and that's there's a number of different guys out there. Yes, Urban Meyer. We have Shane talking about the Pat Kraft wants to win. Who else has the credentials of Urban Meyer? Yeah, again, it's worth the call. I have no doubt Pat Kraft either had. I'm sure. I would almost guarantee you he's already made that call. I don't know that Urban Meyer has any interest in Penn State or any coaching job with his health. Now, maybe, and I suspect this would be part of Pat Kraft's pitch is, hey, Urban, we want you to coach, man.
Yes.
We have the resources now. We will allow, we need you to recruit and close the deal on the recruits and, bring in but we've got the guys that will help you with the transfer portal. We've got the guys that will deal with the NIL stuff.
Absolutely.
We have the guys that will help you facilitate. So, I get it.
Agreed.
It's worth the conversation, and I'm sure they are having or have had the conversation. I don't know that at the end of the day. Now, maybe again, you're throwing enough money, generational money. I mean, Urban's set for life, but Urban, and he's making, I don't know what exactly he's making. It's millions in TV, but how's 12 million sound to you? And you're going to be able to do kind of what you did at Florida and Ohio State, where you're not going to have to deal with all of this other stuff. I mean, you're going to have to be aware of it, but we have the guys. Certainly worth the conversation. I'm just not sure, even with all of that, at the end of the day, that Urban's not going to say, you know what, my health is good, and I kind of like the spot I'm in. I don't need it.
What I'm going to say is who's going to be the general manager, because this is going back to the Bill O'Brien, talking to Bill O'Brien about the Houston situation. We're asking James Franklin to go recruit a kid, pay a kid, come to Penn State, coach a kid, and you still control his money. You can't be that kid's friend and his coach at that point.
Right. No, well, and that's
why I
the
think
GM
you
they
need
have
somebody
now
else.
is doing the Franklin wasn't doing the negotiating.
Jeff, you can't tell me that he did not have his fingers on. He, again, like I said, he is a self-admitted micromanager.
Yeah,
but he's dabbling.
Maybe I don't know that he got much into to that, the contract stuff. But to your point, so the one thing with Urban Meyer, and I mean, this would be true of any of the coaches, but Urban would be able to go to Pat Kraft, or when they met, say, listen, this is he would have a short list, I think, for sure. If we're going to do this and we want this to work, the GM that I think we need to get is and he would have names.
I got you.
And I'm sure Pat would have a couple of names.
Yeah, and then you know what they say?
Would settle on that.
And you know what they say? When you cross that blue line, I don't want to hear about money.
Yeah.
I'm the football coach. I don't want to hear about money. I know that's what's driving kids in this business today, but he's going to be like what James Franklin would say about, I don't want to talk to your parents about playing time. I don't do that. I don't talk to your people about money. Have your agent contact their general manager. You're playing football for me. And I just don't think that was being done up here. I thought there was people Again, that's James's personality is what it is. But I think for the person that can come in here, and Pat Kraft can promise them, all you're going to do is coach football. It's all we want you to do. Recruit players, have them graduate, be respectful off the field to people and in community. We have general managers and we have other people to take care of all the other stuff. You just coach football. And that's what I want. And I would love a Urban Meyer or a Nick Saban to come in there and do that. Now, I have this also. Somebody had told me, I know your fingers wouldn't go to the tree.
No, you're good.
Somebody said to me, if Nick Saban and Urban Meyer come to Penn State and win the national title, that's not Penn State's national title. That will be Urban Meyer's 4th national title and Nick Saban's 8th national title. That would not be a Penn State University national title. So, and I was like, you're right. It wouldn't be known as a Penn State Natty.
In Happy Valley, it would be known as a Penn State National Championship. We'll take a break here and be back with a final segment on this Tuesday afternoon.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things. Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again, the Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
And back for one final segment on this Tuesday. Talk themselves. Yeah, we're not talking ourselves out of Urban Meyer. It's worth a shot, and maybe he does agree to it. I think it's worth. I think both he and Nick Saban. It's worth the conversation and applying a little pressure and sweet talking them as much as you can. And yeah, I'm on board if you can get either of them in here. I think in the era we're in, to go to back to the whether it's a Penn State title or not.
Yep.
Yes, it'll be perceived as Urban Meyer's accomplishment, right, more than Penn State's per se. But does it matter to you
Nope.
if your objective is to win a national title?
Sort of laughed at
get
the
a
guy.
coach.
The guy said it. I was like, oh, okay, dude. Like, really?
You get a coach in here that can do it. So yes, if either of them, if you are able to talk them into it and they are on their way, I think it is unlikely that either, very unlikely.
I think
that either
Urban
would take it.
would be more so to do it than Saban.
Yeah, I think Saban has zero
He's
interest
75,
in this.
76 years old.
And he just doesn't have any interest in he is having so much fun.
I got one for you.
Game day and being able to spend time with his family now after football season. I think there's zero chance with Saban. I don't think there's a strong chance, and I'd love to be proven wrong. I'm perfectly fine with Urban Meyer. I'm also, again, I think there are a lot of guys that could work, and it's a matter of Pat Kraft feeling like they are lined up.
Yep.
And again, it's not just the coach, right? It is, all right, what is the overall vision? This is whether it's Urban Meyer or Drinkowitz or any of these guys that we've been throwing around, or somebody else that's a wild card that nobody's even mentioning. It really is like getting everything aligned. And I think the conversation has to be, all right, well, who is going to be the general manager?
Yeah.
What does that look like? What does the relationship with AD, general manager, head football coach look like? There's got to be a conversation here on the coaching staff front. Like, is it, man, Terry Smith needs to be part of this because
I agree
that he's been the glue, or is it, nope, listen, you need to tell me what you need. You're bringing in, this is going to be your championship team. You tell me what you need. Again, it's going to be talking through all of those things. And I'm just telling you, there is a chance, and I think it's a very good chance, unfortunately. Let's say it is Urban Meyer. You hit the home run, and Pat Kraft and Urban Meyer are on the same page, and they bring in whoever you think is the greatest GM in the history of GMs, and it's like, yep, this is all. I'm just telling you, I think it is still unlikely that over the next 5 years we see a national championship at Penn State. And not because I don't think Urban Meyer or whoever they bring in won't be a great coach. It's just that it is really hard. And there's a lot of really good coaches, really good programs, and a lot of money out there across the college football spectrum.
I'll give you another example of what we're going to run into right now, and that is that Manny Diaz liked smaller, quicker linebackers. Hence what we have right now. Jim Knowles likes big slugs in the middle who can take on some big blocks. But guess what we have a lot of? Small, undersized, quicker linebackers. We don't have that guy. So you need to change the whole perspective of the team now when you bring a new coach in. So I do want to throw this name out at you. He was cleared of all wrongdoing and won a very, very, very large lawsuit against his alma mater of Northwestern. But is Pat Fitzgerald, is he too toxic to come to Penn State because of the history of our scandal and the history of his scandal?
So I don't think he's too toxic. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Pat Kraft would look at it and tell you differently, or at least think differently. But for me, Pat Fitzgerald, I think, is going to be, not because of the hazing stuff, allegations, and all of that, I think just because, and I think what Pat did at Northwestern is incredible, and I think with the resources here, he is another guy that could get Penn State to the national title, and I would be very happy with Pat Fitzgerald. I think the majority of the fan base is going to be looking at it saying, really, a Northwestern guy that never got anywhere near the national title? Like, that's
with who?
I think that's the perception. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm telling you that I think and in part because he hasn't been on the coaching scene
2 years.
For the last couple of years, that it is not going to be perceived, if that were the hire, as a home run hire. Now,
I think it is.
I don't think, no matter who it is, there's going to be, I think, a substantial percentage of the fan base that's like, well, that's not the home run hire we were hoping for. I don't think it matters. I think Pat Fitzgerald, if he comes in, I think he will be given a chance by the fans. I don't think any of these guys are going to be given a long chance. I think you need to give it, I think the first year, hopefully, we can all be on the same page. Like, they don't have to win the national title the first year. You just want to see this thing look like it's going well, moving in the right direction.
Yep.
Teams playing better at the end of the year, whatever. And then years 2 and 3 need to look pretty good, right? Pretty good meaning you got to get to the playoffs at least by year 3, and you got to feel like, all right, this thing is working toward a real opportunity to go win a national title. It's not the old 5-year, you got to give them at least 5 years. It has to look like it's right in 3 years. It just does.
Yep, I hear you. And then you're going to sit there and say, well, Pat's record again, he hasn't beat anybody, his teams, but he has Northwestern team. It's the same argument people are making for Matt Rule, that Matt only coached Temple and Baylor, but Temple was a dumpster fire, and Baylor was probably worse because of their scandal. So him going in the top 10 teams, they're improving.
Yeah, Nebraska has been a rebuild job, and it was a bad loss to Minnesota. It was Minnesota,
dude. And you know what? My buddy Silverfield at Memphis, Lane Kiffin, who's like sort of everybody that was attached to the Penn State job, sort of got they stunk up the place this weekend.
Yeah, so we might kick this around a little more on Thursday too.
What else are we gonna do?
Because this is one of the things. Also, and I get the back-to-back losses as 23-point-plus favorites. I get it. We had somebody with the snarky comment, we need to build a bronze plaque or something for Franklin to commemorate those two historic losses back-to-back.
Bring the plaque back.
The thing is, when you look around college football, to go to the term I hate, the inexcusable, like Alabama has an inexcusable loss this season. Clemson has fallen off. Texas has fallen off. Texas, Clemson, and Penn State all were perceived. I think they were perceived as virtual. Yeah, LSU. Those three were perceived as surefire playoff teams this year. Maybe let's see what happens once they get there. But no chance that Clemson, Texas, or Penn State weren't going to at least be in the playoffs. Two of those teams definitively won't. I think it's unlikely that Texas will either. So, there again, expectations and then what actually plays out, two different things. But you start looking around college football, and we'll see how it plays out with Ohio State. But to this point, I would say Ohio State, even Indiana, and they won the game, but, they did not look great against Iowa. Now, that performance by Iowa helps Penn State's cause for a bowl game here at the end of the year, because Iowa, again, lost that game to Indiana 20-15, gave the Hoosiers their best game to date.
Better than people are giving them credit for.
Yeah, maybe. I think they
beat Wisconsin 37-0. Ohio State beat them 34.
I know
it's
Wisconsin
stupid.
is really down.
Oh,
and you can't. doing the comparison game is an awful way to try to assess.
Yep. The same
where
4 quarters.
different teams are. But I think that we'll see how good Iowa is as it plays out. My guess is
they'll lose somebody they shouldn't lose to.
Yeah, my guess is they're an 8-4 team, and that's fine. They're good. But there are not many teams. I don't know if any will get through the season where there won't be at least a loss where you're like, man, I'm really surprised that team lost that game, even if it's to another good team. I guarantee Oregon fans are still scratching their head over Indiana. Indiana's looking great. I mean, they're ranked number 2 in the country. All of it. I'm telling you, Oregon fans are still, what at home? What did we just went to Happy Valley and beat? So it's just the era we're in. And again, it's so quick. The Matt Rule would be a good fit. Oh, no. Nope, they got they lost badly to Minnesota. Forget it. Rule's got to be off the list. Well, can we wait and see how they respond, how they play out the season? Could we maybe, if Matt Rule is hired, just wait and see what his vision is here and how he wants to go about building at a place like Penn State with resources that even at Nebraska they don't have aligned to the degree they do at Penn State. Now, Nebraska's working. I'm not saying Nebraska can't get there. Nebraska won't be a national title contender. I'm just telling you right now, as we're sitting here today, Penn State has a lot more in place, ready to go than Nebraska does. And again, it is getting everything aligned and then getting the recruits for your program, getting the players that fit the system that gives you the best chance to win. And it's not going to be the same everywhere. To the point earlier, yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it's the linebackers that you need the elite linebackers. The depth part is going to be difficult anywhere now at the key spots because of the transfer portal and because there are so many kids that want to play right away and are coming out. And so, yeah, if you have a key injury or two, especially two, at spots like linebacker or quarterback, again, you're going to be in trouble because and to some degree, you've always been. It's not like teams historically just had 3 superstar quarterbacks and 3 superstar linebackers waiting in the offing. But again, those pretty good guys now are going to be going and, well, yeah, I could be starting here rather than sitting likely for 4 years. And so that depth is just a tricky part. And it's why we were so high in this Penn State team this year. We thought they had that depth. Although linebacker was the one spot that we thought it's just thin there at linebacker, and it would be helpful if those guys could stay healthy. And then, then you have the Rojas injury.
Good show, Ironhead. A lot of yapping today.
Yeah, we like to yap. We will be back and do some more yapping on Thursday. Until then, be good and be safe.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors. People invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again, the Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox State